An RMI distributed application that uses the RMI registry to obtain a reference to a remote object in Java remote method invocation. Here you can see an RMI distributed applications that uses the RMI registry to obtain a reference to a remote object. RMI application often comprise two separate programs, a server and a client. A typical server program creates some remote objects, makes reference to these objects accessible, and waits for client to invoke methods on these objects. A typical client program obtains a remote reference to one or more remote objects on a server and then invokes method on them. RMI provide mechanism by which the server and the client communicate and pass information back and forth. Such application sometimes referred as a distributed object application. Distributed object applications need to do the following. Locate remote objects. Application can use various mechanisms to obtain references to remote objects. For example, an application can register its remote objects with RMI simple naming facility, the RMI registry. Alternatively, an application can pass and return remote object references as a part of remote invocations. Communicate with remote objects. Details of communication between remote objects are handled by RMI. To the programmer, a remote communications look similar to regular Java method invocations. Load class definitions for objects that are passed around. Because RMI enables object to be passed back and forth, it provides mechanism for loading and object class definitions as well as for transforming an object's data. This diagram this illustration depicts an RMI distributed application that uses RMI registry to obtain a reference to a remote object. The server calls the registry to associate or bind a name with a remote object. The clients looks up the remote object by its name in the server's registry and then invokes a method on it. This illustration also shows that the RMI system uses an existing web server to load class definitions from server to client and from client to server. for object when needed. Here RMI client is connected to RMI registry. So RMI is passed from RMI client to RMI registry. RMI client is connected to RMI server. RMI is passed from RMI client to RMI server, and RMI server is connected to RMI registry, and RMI is passed from RMI server to RMI registry. RMI registry is connected to remote server. URL protocol is passed from RMI registry remote web server. Sorry. And RMI client is connected to web server, and URL protocol is passed from RMI client to web server. RMI server is connected to web server. URL protocol is passed from RMI server to RMI web server. Now this is the end of my presentation. Thank you very much for watching it.